Welcome to episode 50 of the Life's Ambition podcast. This has been a big milestone, and I had this idea a little bit ago, and I wanted to do this and give you guys a little insight about myself and how this show came about and what it's all meant for. And I really hope it impacts you guys. I really appreciate everyone that listens all across the world. It means the utmost to me, and just know that there's plenty more to come. Here we go.
Hello, everyone. If you are looking for Drew's voice, you will not be disappointed. He is on this podcast of this edition of Life's Ambition, and we're doing a little bit of a role reversal because we got a special occasion here, and this is his 50th show, and I'm going to be talking to Drew as the narrator. And Drew, congratulations on hitting number 50.
Thanks, Dad. I really do appreciate it. It's, when I first started this, I did not think I was going to be at 50, let alone did I think I was going to have any listeners. So I use this app and it's really cool. It gets to show you where people listen from. And I've seen different countries throughout the world, whether that's Singapore, Pakistan. So I'm super grateful that just even it's reaching some of those people. And yeah, so I really appreciate you wanting to do this because when I thought about this idea for 50, I knew I wanted to do something special for it because it's a big milestone. And I said, why not do myself? And I said, there's no better person I had in mind than you to lead it off. I think about almost every episode I've mentioned you and what you do, especially with how hardworking you are and how you raised me and, obviously your other son, my brother. And I just figured that there's no one better to do this, especially with a lot of the voice cues and social ability aspects I get from you. So I'm super excited about episode 50.
Well, Drew, I can't say thanks enough for asking me to do this. I'm excited to kind of be on this side of the fence versus just listening to your podcast and being a part of it in a different way. And as Drew already announced, I am his father. My first name is Joe. So Drew doesn't call me Joe too often. We'll probably remove that from him saying that on this podcast. But enough from me. Let's dive into you here, Drew. So Life's Ambition, all right, is 50th episode. It's a cool milestone. Let's go back in time here. And how did you think of the title? Let's go with that.
Yeah, so I actually I had this idea when I was a sophomore in college. And I've mentioned this aspect a few times on the show where I didn't know what I wanted to do going into school. And I had you guys, you and Mom, to really help me out with getting connected with many different people, whether that's through you as a physical therapist and Mom with her HR background and kind of her networking abilities. And, obviously got to talk with our uncle and he pointed this idea of GIS. So I was like, this is awesome. I did some research on it and I was like, this is exactly what I want to do. And that was kind of my decision. I didn't really find out till my sophomore year of school. And so that's kind of where the life idea came around is I want to do something career related. And that's pretty much majority of your life. 1/3 of your life is really spent in your career field doing whatever it is. And so that's kind of where the life part came about. And through that talking aspect, you had to be ambitious because you are kind of throwing yourself out there. You don't know what you don't know. And so you have to be ambitious about finding what is there. And I wanted to do a kind of a fancy word so I could seem cooler to the audience in a sense. And so that's kind of where the ambitious part came around. And I know we played around a lot with different ideas. I know there was things about your old hockey team to do something like that related to that, just because it showed our name. But ultimately came to this Life's Ambition and had to do a lot of research to see if anyone had this title. And ultimately not many people did, or if at all. And I was like, yep, this is it.
Well, the name to me completely resonates. And from a looking back in time perspective when you were going into college, and then when you shared about, hey, this is meant for people trying to just understand paths of what are out there for people to do as far as a career, I think it's awesome, because I've said this probably 1,000 times to people that I interact with on a day in, day out basis, is I think it's really hard for a teenager to figure out what do they want to do for the rest of their life, knowing that they're probably going to change their path more than once.
Oh yeah, I think about just the people that I've talked to so far in the show, and they mention all the time and I thought about it too. It's like when you're 18, you are still so young and still trying to explore yourself in a sense of like, what do I like? What do I not like? And then you have never really lived on your own, or maybe some people have, I don't know. But usually you're coming at 18. Sometimes with different sports or whatnot, you're coming in later, but still you're on your own. You have to learn that aspect. Then you're doing the school aspect, but you want to make sure yourself is taken care of first. And the years can go by in a blink of an eye. And so what I consume a lot of content, whether that's through YouTube, Instagram, movies, anything like that. And I'm always listening to music. And so that's kind of this whole thing is maybe someone's just listening on their way to their class. And so it's just crazy what is out there in the world. And I'm just hoping to share a little bit of that here with all these people I've talked to.
Well, you definitely are, Drew. And I know you shared with me that, when this started is, the podcast that is that, it really reached, I'll call it your inner circle. And then how this has evolved is this has spread well beyond your inner circle. And you already mentioned several different countries, and the fact that you've got followers, I think it is awesome. And it's a testament to, what this podcast is meant to be about. So something that has been asked to me to kind of continue on with the Life's Ambition, like theme and title, is the artwork that you developed for this. I frankly, outside of knowing, North Carolina State is and the bell tower there, but I don't know if many listeners know the background regarding the art story. And frankly, I don't know if I've asked you like how that came about. So why don't you share that with everybody?
Yeah, so I've never wanted to be the focal point of the show. I just wanted to play as the listener or someone who really wanted to ask someone of various career fields these questions. And so for me, I loved NC State. I loved everything about it. And the bell tower has always been a really cool shot. And it's me walking. I actually had a few roommates take the picture. I was walking towards the bell tower. And the reason why my hood is up and I'm wearing pants and a sweatshirt is for people to envision themselves as the character, as someone that's trying to ask those questions to someone else and someone that's trying to find their own path. And so that's kind of the whole story behind the artwork. And it's kind of in the gray and black, mostly because I thought it was a little bit cooler to do it that way. But it was pretty cold and bare outside. And so that's also the reason why it's in the black and white. But the whole messaging behind it is it's not me, it's them that's actually the person that's finding their own path in life.
Terrific, Drew. That's awesome. And it clearly resonates with you and your background. Is obviously I've known you the longest here.
Yeah.
When did Life's Ambition start? What was the date of the very first show? Do you know that off the top of your head?
Oh yeah. So my first episode released was May 4th, 2024. That's when I graduated. And that's when I graduated from NC State. And I'm gonna be honest, it just kind of worked out perfectly because I want to do it as soon as I graduated. But also, I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, so having it on May the 4th made perfect sense. And that first episode was with Mark Lichtenstein, probably one of the main shows I remember in my head, just because I was in one of the CNR buildings, the College of Natural Resources buildings, and I was trying to figure it out for the first time. Didn't have a mic or anything yet. and I was using my like kind of school computer at the time. And so I'll never forget doing that as my very first time. I couldn't pinpoint exactly when I recorded that first episode, but I do know that it was a few months' time before I actually um, released it on that May the 4th date. So it probably was sometime in like February or March.
Well, Drew, when you mentioned May 4th, of course, that being a Star Wars day, which you already alluded to, is maybe there's a personal fact that you could share with your listeners is your dog. What's your dog's name? And, kind of give a description for all you Star Wars nerds out there.
Yeah, so got a puppy not probably 6 months ago now. His name's Anakin, and he is, if you've ever been a puppy owner, you start to learn a lot about patience and actually caring about someone else in a sense of like, wow, I have to take care of them and do all these things, whether it's walk them, feed them, pee poop, all that stuff. And my goodness, was it a big learning curve. I really wanted a dog. He's black lab, but he's mixed with all these other things. And so he was projected to be big, but he's staying around like 45 pounds. So we'll kind of see how big he is. But yeah, I've been a big Star Wars fan for a really long time. I actually wrote some college essays all based on Star Wars. So there was an Auburn essay based on it, and a few other schools. And me and my brother and obviously your son and my buddies all the time growing up would watch the shows and do lightsaber competitions and fight against one another. So yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, let's see. So we're in what, April here, and if you talk about almost a year in the making for these, is what would you say is one of the things that surprised you the most as far as doing a podcast?
So I say, actually, we're coming up to 2 years here really quick, which is crazy. In about pretty much a month now. I think when this episode releases, it'll be
that's right,
either
years,
right after that. Yeah, it would be like right after that or right before that. And so with coming up on 2 years now, one of the things I've learned the most is just how people come into their career field and what kind of sparks their interest the most. And it reminds me a lot of your story where you had a buddy in college that said, hey, do you want to just take this physical therapy class? Like you were in the business world and someone's like, hey, let's just take this together. And you pivoted right then and there to something completely new. And now you've been a physical therapist for 20 plus years and with the same company, which doesn't happen very often. And so when you get to hear stories like that, and it happens a lot more than you think, I think that's one of the things I've learned most is that just not everyone's had this very simple path. Some have, but that is more of like an anomaly. And I think that should be a message for a lot of people out there is if you're unsure or not knowing of what your path is going to be and where you're going to go next, like that's totally okay. A lot of these people literally just met someone and they took that opportunity to say, hey, can I learn more about this? And then took that route. So it's all about kind of where you're meant to be. And I believe everything happens for a reason. And 100%, that's what I've learned the most.
Your messaging there to me really resonates as a parent, as you know, as you were going through your high school years and getting ready for college and beyond. I think there's a ton of pressure. Probably some of it's self-induced, some of it's societally induced on quote unquote, can you keep up with the Joneses and, what are your colleagues doing in college and, are they setting themselves up for success? And the reality of it is that, we're all on a journey trying to figure it out. It's just we're at different phases, as you already alluded to. And if people need to pivot, can they, one, trust themselves and then get out of their comfort zone to do it? So I loved your messaging, and certainly several of your speakers, many of them have shared that, yeah, they haven't done what certainly what I've done, what you allude to, is staying in one career path for a number of years, and then they have pivoted. So I hope this message reaches many more listeners than you already have.
Yeah, I just find it amazing that you wouldn't think I would think more that the people in their career now have always wanted to do that. I did not think that there were as many individuals as there are now that thought they wanted to do one thing and have completely shifted. Like growing up, I thought you had the anomaly case where you were doing one thing and then boom, something just presented itself and you took that opportunity. Like I didn't think that happened as much as it does.
Well, as we look beyond now today in episode 50, is where do you envision the next 50 going?
So the next 50, that's a great question. And I really wish I could predict the future, but I'm just hoping to kind of continue the episodes, continue um, reaching out to others. I'm hoping, like, I have a few ideas of how I want to develop the show itself that I won't share on here specifically, but there's going to be a lot to come and what I hope to grow and do with it. I hope to honestly, I really want to be able to talk to someone in every profession at one point. And I know there's hundreds and hundreds of different kinds, but I love to just hear everyone's story about where they get to where they are today. But just know there's a lot to come, and I'm going to keep cranking them out. Like I already have a ton of great people that I've talked to that are in store for you guys to listen to. Like I can give you guys like a little snippet. One, I believe, I'm depending on when this releases. So there's a jewelry store owner that I think is really cool. He was also in his own band. There's one person that worked at the Kansas City Chiefs, and I believe that one will release before this one. But those two are very cool individuals. There's a woman who is in the oil tanker supply, like kind of distribution world, which never knew that was even a thing. And it's small business, really did not know if that was a thing. And so those are just like a few examples of different people that are to come.
Awesome, Drew. I hope we do this again. Maybe it's 100, maybe it's 250, maybe it's 500, maybe it's 1,000 episodes.
And I really do appreciate you doing this here, Dad. I knew you'd be the perfect person to choose from because, I mean, I've learned pretty much everything in terms of my social skills, how to like respect others, how to listen, all that stuff from you and Mom. So I wouldn't have this any other way in terms of doing this. And if it reaches people, that's great. But I just very much love doing this as a like passion project. And yeah, so thank you.
Well, Drew, thank you for asking me to do this. Love you, buddy, and congratulations on 50. And let's add zeros onto this one. 500, 5,000, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Thanks, Dad. I love you too. Hey, everyone. Want to take a quick second and say thank you to whoever listened to the episode today. I really do appreciate it, and it means a lot. If you did like the episode, make sure to give it a like or 5-star rating depending on what platform you are listening to. And if you really want to support the show, check out our website or Patreon link below. Thank you, and I'll catch you in the next episode.